So we're going to do you a handover video for the Symbol stream backup. It's only going to make your life easier. So diesel fill up, pretty self-explanatory. Ignition key for the vehicle, for the cab that is. You want to use that to get access. Push in, spin left and release, then push back in, spin right to lock. The AdBlue is just below, which you just twist, look and lift out, just like so. And essentially that's going to come up on your dashboard to let you know how many miles you've got left before refill. It is approximately 9 litres to refill it. Right, in fact, have a quick look, see if it says anything there. No, it just gives you the process on how to do it, but literage is minimum 5 litres look of refill, so 9's approximately. We'd probably go for 7 just to keep in the same place, but again, it's always worth googling because each vehicle is different. Externally, nothing else down the driver's side apart from your barbecue point. You quite literally want to push your connector onto there for your Cadillac barbecue, spin this round so it's, you know, going vertical rather than horizontal, and it should just say behind there, look, off and on, and that's how you're going to get gas to your barbecue. And then you obviously got your dials on your barbecue to send the gas to which bit you want. Reverse camera up at the top, obviously don't jet wash too close to it, otherwise you'll get water in there and mess up the picture. Tow bar is pretty self-explanatory with the 13-pin plug next to it. These are all fridge vents, so with these, just careful when we're jet washing again. You want it to, you know, jet wash above and around and let it run over these, just so we're not getting any water in the back of the fridge. We've got the hookup point just here. Now this is where we're going to charge the vehicle battery, and obviously the things like the heating system that works up to 3 kilowatts of power. You do need this plugged in to have your fridge on hookup and to have your heating on electric and your boiler on electric as well. Your TV is 12 volts, so you don't need it plugged in for your TV to work. Now on your control panel we can swap between vehicle and leisure battery, and that's also meaning that when we're plugged in charging leisure battery, if we go to the control panel and swap it to vehicle, it is then going to charge the vehicle battery. Below there you've got your grey and blue waste taps. So underslung you've got 2 great big water tanks. They're both approximately about 80 litres, and this is how we're going to drain both of them down. Obviously being in a camper van, you've not experienced winterization too much, I wouldn't have thought, because these have onboard boilers and underslung tanks, that they are, you know, prone to getting frost, if you like, on the colder winter days. We do need to be obviously draining all this off. One, if we're not going to use the motorhome for a week or two, or two, obviously if it's just in the winter anyway and we're leaving the motorhome for a while, or even a day or two, you want to make sure there's no water on board. So this is how we're going to drain both those tanks with these 2 taps just located there and there. So what we do is just turn the end of the tap. At the minute the grey one is open with the cap off, so you make sure you're not travelling with any wastewater on board. So essentially this bit here, we put the hose pipe in here. I'll see if it's unlocked. Yep, come on. So you just put the hose pipe in there. That's going to fill up your fresh water tank, and then that's the blue one for fresh. So you'll have 80 litres of water on board, very similar to your camper van with your water storage. Once that water goes through the sink units and all that and through your plug holes, it then goes into the grey water tank, which is where this is where we're going to drain that from. Okay, so it holds all the water it uses. Unlike camper vans where you have to have the aqua roll underneath or the water carrier to catch it, this catches it in its own tank. So you'll notice it says gas emergency control, so under the vehicle just here you will find a gas emergency tap if you did need it, that shuts off the gas supply to the whole vehicle. This is here, obviously you got some external 12 volt power there, so you can put your TV outside. Just here is a whale water pump. So what that is where you can have the big drum of water on the floor and you can suck water on board, but obviously with this already having an 80 litre water storage, not necessarily needed as such, but it's good there to have as a backup. This is how you're going to fill up your gas. So you've got an underslung gas tank, which you should be able to see. It's just that red bit there on the back of the camera. And basically you clip onto this, and then you just click the button to start the machine. It'll start filling it up for you and click off when it's full. Obviously watch a YouTube video if you do need to know how to do that yourself, if you've not had one before. So externally, that's about it. Obviously it is a 140 brake horsepower engine. It does have air suspension that we've already got set to the 2 millibars of pressure, which is the ideal amount, just on there. And all you do is just like pumping a car tyre up. You leave the black and red things where they are, you unscrew that off, and you just put a pump on there and pump that up. They say between 2 and 4. Yep, obviously that's what's on the green scale. That's your optimum area, so you get the best ride and the stiffest suspension, so it's not swaying too much. Obviously down at the bottom of the 2 is always good because it just makes it, obviously there's a lot of bumpy roads around here, which is why we put them to the bottom of the threshold, because when they're all up solid on 4 and you go over these potholes and things, it does take its toll. Electric step then, just want to click that button in and out. Once we go inside, I've showed you on the outside your 2 drain off points for your fresh and waste tank, but underneath here you'll see that yellow lever. If you spin that yellow lever, that's going to drain your boiler. So between that yellow lever and the grey and the blue tap, that is your way of draining every ounce of water off this motorhome. Now we need to do that because if you left this vehicle for 4 weeks in the bleak of winter, the cold is eventually going to creep inside, and if that boiler, obviously the water in there freezes, when water freezes it expands, it can crack the internals of the boiler. Control panel then, just tap down at the bottom to wake it up. Lights on and off, it's just like a master light switch. So that turns all the main lights on and off. Once you've turned them off, you'll have to go around and individually turn the centre lights back on by touching the centres. This one here is your awning light, so your light that's just outside there. This here is to swap batteries, so Joe was discussing outside where you can swap from vehicle to leisure. So at the minute it's on leisure for L, so that's the battery for the back. So at the minute we're charging the rear battery and we are also using it for power. But if I click that, we can swap it over to the vehicle. There we go, look, V for vehicle. And then you can hear it tick in the back when you do it. So that's going to change what battery we're charging. On the left you've got your on, so when this panel comes, when you touch it and the screen wakes up, you click the on button, that turns all the power on. You've got your water pump switch just there. This one here should be water levels. Then we can click back home, and this one here should be oil levels. So battery, leisure battery, vehicle voltage for the vehicle battery, mains current, how much solar power is going in, and obviously how much we're using. But with the offset of that and against it, you know, it ends up balancing out pretty much quite well in the sunnier days, if you like. If I go on to the settings then, we can also have solar battery select, so we can charge individual batteries. So the smart mode will choose which one to charge. So at the minute, because we're plugged in, the solar's putting all its power into the vehicle battery, but I can turn that off and just select which one. We've got tank heaters then, so we can obviously, the 2 tanks that are underslung, if you're using this vehicle in the south of France or North Italy where it's pretty cold and you're going to get some snow, you're going to get things start freezing. So these 2 tanks that are under the floor I was telling you about, if you are using the vehicle, you're going to want to come into the settings and turn both of those on. That's going to basically, it's like an underfloor heating system that wraps in your water tank to stop it from freezing. So it don't heat your water up, but it stops it from, you know, freezing up. So you want to use that waste and fresh, turn both of those on. If I go on to my next page, if I can, it's just main light and awning light. There we go. Then we can do all the alarms for the water, backlight level, time and date, and then we can go back to home. It's nice and easy. Your heating hot water then, at the minute, I'll put it back to 1x zoom so you can see a little bit better. At the minute we're on 2 kilowatts of electric on both of them. So there's only 4 buttons on this control panel, and if you wanted to turn your boiler on, all you got to do is switch this button up here, and all it does is it tells us whether it's on gas and 1 kilowatt of electric, gas and 2 kilowatts of electric. You can just have it on frost protect mode, 1 kilowatt of electric or 2 kilowatts of electric. It'll warm the water up to approximately 60 to 70 degrees Celsius, and all you've got to do is click this button to tell it the power supply. So if you're on a campsite and plugged in, you want the 2 kilowatts. If you're wild camping, you want that. If it's freezing cold on a campsite, you want to get it warm quick, you want that one, because that's gas and 2 kilowatts of electric. Or if you're at home plugged in, you want it on that one, so we're not using too much power on you and putting your electric bill up too much. Now the heating, it's exactly the same process, so we choose the power supply, but on the heating side we can go up to 3 kilowatts, so 3 wavy lines. So if we're on a campsite, using 3, it's going to get hot very quick, very quick. And if I flick that over, we can have it on gas, and 2 kilowatts of electric, and the same goes through. Once we've chosen the power setting, we can then choose the temperature of the air in the vehicle by clicking this button up and down here. So down at the bottom is probably 18 degrees, so today it wouldn't even come on. But if I put it all the way up to 30, which is there, obviously now it's not 30 degrees in here, it will come on. But they have thermostats in the vehicle to register the temperature, so it obviously knows when to turn the heating on and off. This plug here goes to this adapter here, so you can plug in more around this area and some USBs for charging. At the minute it's got the television plugged in, we've got the aerial cable plugged in there and the aerial cable plugged in there. So if I turn the television on, there we go, and wait for the blue light, look. This should come on now, and the normal setup is once it is turned on, it'll do this loading screen. You want to go in your cupboard, make sure that blue light's on your booster, and then what we can do, I mean, it should already be tuned in, yeah. So it tunes straight in because we're here, but if you're going out of Nottinghamshire into another county, there we go, look, could do a retuning. You want to hold down AQT, comes up with this, then just click OK. And that's just going to search for them channels for you now. It takes approximately 10 minutes, sometimes quicker, but that's how you search for channels when you go into a new area. Your Wi-Fi that's in the motorhome, that'll need a SIM card putting in it, but again, you just need to come in here to turn it on. You just click on, and it's pretty simple as that. But you do need obviously your SIM card in there, and then obviously paying for some internet and bits like that really. But it stays in the cupboard, great coverage, and when you're done with it, obviously always remember to try and turn it off. So holding the power button, there we go, and she's off. Oh yeah, it's just shutting down now with the Hawaii screen. These are very simple, just like at home. Push in, igniter, there we go. None of this will work unless the glass screen's retracted back to use as a heat shield. Your fridge is a 3-way fridge, so it's in sleep mode at the minute. If I tap this, or this one, it's going to show us we're on hookup at cold temperature. If I hold this in, it'll start flashing, to which I can now go to battery or gas. To select, click in, and then it asks you to select your temperature. Again, click in, and that's how now it's going to light on gas. To get it back to hook up, you want to hold in, flick across to hook up, click in, and away we go. The battery's not going to reduce the temperature of the fridge, it's only ever going to maintain the temperature you got set before. So if I was going to hold it at 1 o'clock, at 12 o'clock I have this on my driveway on gas or electric, getting down to temperature. As I'm about to set off, I flick it over to battery, which is in the middle, and then I turn the engine on, and that's going to maintain whatever temperature I've managed to get the fridge to before leaving. And then when I get to the campsite, I turn it back to either hookup or gas. So once we've stopped, otherwise it's just going to drain your vehicle battery. Obviously once your water pump's on, a steady stream of water should come through. Again, if you're not using it for a while, you're going to get air locks. So if you turn your boiler on, you've not been in the vehicle for a while, you want to fill your water tank up, turn your boiler on, let the hot tap run till all the air bubbles come out, and then obviously that's going to prime up that 10 litre boiler, or I think it's an 8 litre boiler for you. Extractor fan on the left for the fan, 2 different speeds, on the right for the light switch. Okay, this is just an isolator for the what do you call it, the element in the boiler. So if you have that on, it preheats the element in your boiler, so it just pre-warms it up. So rather than going freezing cold to red hot, it preheats it, and then when you warm it up, it's just going to make it last that bit longer. If I go to the toilet cassette then, last of all, obviously shower's self-explanatory, the lights are all touch look just like that. Sink's obviously very nice and easy, just drops down and run the water. The tap has to be in that position to put the sink away until you hear it click in. Open the toilet, do your business, click blue to flush, which you should be able to hear that now, but when I lift up, you'll see there's water now in the bottom. To get that into the toilet cassette, you want to push this over, drop it in, close it off when you're done. Keep that closed at all times to stop any bad smells coming up. And I think that's about it really. Overall, I think yeah, that's probably about it. Cab's pretty self-explanatory. You've driven vehicles before, you've got your reverse camera that comes up top. This over here is your parking sensor that tells you how far away things are. That little monitor right down there is your gas low system, so that tells you when you're driving with the ignition on, it registers how much gas is in the system, so you know at all times if you need more gas or not. In the cupboards, I don't believe there is anything to discuss with you. I'll double check before. Nice little surprise, loads of plate, lovely. But yeah, other than that, mate, I really hope you enjoy the motorhome. She's an absolute beauty, really nice build quality, everything's just fantastic. It's all very rigid, it's very strong, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it.